Dylan Kelly and Cameron Beaubier on the front row.
And then we're going to see Heron, Gagne, and Richie Escalante, who I found out yesterday did run off the track. So hopefully he can get further up there today, Greg. Gillum, Cornbow, Yates, Benjamin Smith, Danilo Lewis, and Max Flinders. Had a good talk with Max. He's been having some issues this week as well. JD Beach, Deion Campbell, Jason Waters, Nolan Lampkin, Blackman, and Giannato are going to be back there on row number 6, and Bobby Davis is row 7. Yeah, Max had some really weird steering issues with his bars, and they couldn't figure some things out. So I'm just happy to see the 88 out there, because I don't know if he missed the sighting lap maybe, but he was in the pits. So happy to see Max at least be able to join up on the grid. Now the big question for me is, what did this Tytler's BMW team find that might be able to help Cameron? Because yesterday Bobby was just so good all the way throughout the race. I mean, it was just grinding out these fast lap times. And
those leathers look good on Max.
They do look good. That's Max. It looks like he's back in the pits, Greg. So yeah,
he is.
He's been having a lot of problems. I feel bad for Max, because yesterday he had an issue, ran off the track. He come around and finished the race, but it's just been kind of one little thing after the other. Bobby Fong got to get another good start, Greg. If he gets a good start, he can dictate everything, can't he? So that's going to be the key for him.
All right, so your pole sitter on that Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha looking for a good launch as we are ready to get after it. 20 laps scheduled in this race when these lights go off. Okay, so we're away racing and some good launches. Look at Josh Heron, though, right part of your screen on the number 1. He gets that Ducati off the line well, and he lets off the lever into turn number 2. Turn number 1 he goes. He'll be in second place. And it looks like a couple of Vision Wheel M4XR Suzukis are right there as well. So a good launch by Sean Dylan Kelly and Richie Escalante, as the number 50 will lead us through the infield section of this road course. Also a good launch by one of the Hondas up there in 5th place.
Yeah, that's a really good start. It looks like it's going to be, it is?
It's Ashton Yates.
Ashton Yates. What a start from Ashton. Really nice start from him in 5th. I think as you can see, Bobby Fong has been passed. Josh Heron probably snuck up the inside of the 50. And look at Josh. Immediately goes tight going into turn 7. He is going to try to dictate the pace. We have seen this guy, Greg, win races when he knows he's not the fastest guy, but he's so good in the right spots. I talked to Gagne this morning. He was in that battle yesterday with STK and with Heron. He says, Jason, he goes, the way Josh rides, he's so good on the brakes. He takes advantage of everything he needs to take advantage of on this motorcycle. Now, for Bobby, the big thing is he is now going to have to worry about the guys behind him, where yesterday he didn't have to do that. It's been a rough start for Cam Beaubier. Look where he's at, Greg. Cam Beaubier is back in 6th or 7th spot, it looks like.
Yeah, there he is right there. It's even further back than that, as there was a gap to the lead group. But onto the front straightaway we go for the first time. That Yamaha in the tuck on that Ducati as they bend it through the kink. Bobby Fong has to stand it up, and this is where Heron's super strong. And this Virginia International Raceway is not a track that lends itself to a ton of passing opportunities, as Fong loses a couple bike lengths under braking to Heron, just like that, as they go through 3-4 section.
Hey, you know what? We got a 5-bike breakaway, and I'm very happy to say there's 2 GSXR 1000s there. STK and Richie Escalante are going with this lead group of 5. We still have Ashton Yates in 6th. Cornbow is in there. Cam Beaubier is 8th. I saw Gagne. Gagne made that pass on Escalante down into turn number 1. Now he's setting up SDK. Let's see if Gagne's got anything. He doesn't, but he's going to be right in the back there. So a little further back, it's Cornbow. It looks like Hayden Gillum or JD Beach, but there's Beaubier right in between those Hondas, Greg. And then just off the back of them is Benjamin Smith.
Of course, the 27 of Ashton Yates off of that start, putting himself in a great position. But look at Heron, so deep on the brakes, controlling the pace, utilizing the tools that he has at his disposal, especially down the bottom of the hill, getting that bike turned, and he'll get on the gas. He's not very vulnerable on a straightaway, is the number 1 with that Ducati. It's a fast motorcycle, plus Heron knows how to squeeze the gas on and get the most out of that motorcycle. Josh Heron comes across the stripe, leading another lap, Jamie.
And for Josh Heron, they made some chassis adjustments overnight just to give him something that he could get to the front a little bit easier with today.
That's down. What we see. He's down. Sorry, Jamie. Josh Heron loses the front in turn number 1, and Bobby Fong now will take over the lead. Heron rushing to his motorcycle, your championship points leader, even after talking about not making those mistakes. Unfortunately, he lost a little bit of gription, and down he goes, and he's trying to get back on the racetrack. It's so muddy out there.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain the last few days. We had a big thunderstorm roll through. That track's going to be, there's a lot of mud just off the track. This is a huge chance for those chasing in the points, especially Bobby Fong right now, who has the most to gain from this. You see, Greg, he just gets in there, just loses the front so easily. He gets that bike picked up. Look at Bobby Fong. He could hardly believe his eyes. Bobby almost rode off the inside of the track. He looks back here at Herrin, and then he had to stand the bike up because he was going to the inside. We have not seen Herrin make any mistakes like that for so long.
Now, Simone, crew chief, obviously not thrilled with what happened there with Herrin, and that was based off of a 24.5 that Herrin had done. So now we find ourselves with Bobby Fong and Sean Dillon Kelly. Now, Sean Dillon Kelly doesn't have to deal with the number one, just like the battle yesterday. So now we find ourselves with an Attack Progressive Yamaha and a Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki and those lap times. So Fong ends up having to roll out of it a little bit in turn number one to avoid the crashing, or just startled by the fact that Josh Herrin made that mistake, which, Jay, you talked about it. That's why it's startling. He just hasn't been doing that at all.
He just doesn't do it. And, like, I'm looking outside the window right now, Greg, to see if he is going to come by our post where we are here, and he does. Josh Herrin comes through. He is currently in 16th. He's got about 15.2 seconds up to the next guy in front of him, which will be Danilo Lewis. So for Josh Herrin in 16th place, he's going to get points today. Now this guy here, this is another question mark of what is going on with Cam Beaubier on the 6 on that Tytler's BMW, Greg. He is currently running 8th. He went 25.7. Now keep in mind, this guy yesterday went 24.2 in the first part of the race yesterday. But for right now, he is slowly making progress to the front. His next guy that he's got to get through is going to be Hayden Gillum, who's just in front of him right now.
Look at the live championship points as of right now. It would only be a 3-point difference from Herrin to Fong. Beaubier would be 17 back. However, with that said, Josh Herrin came across the stripe in 16th position. That's 0 points. We would expect that Herrin, if his bike is in good enough shape, he's going to start clawing his way up the field, and every time he does into the 15th position or forward, he'll get another point with each one of those positions.
Yeah,
another look at it here,
You're going to
Jay.
see here, this is after the crash.
Yeah.
You can see he's going to be trying to feel this bike out. I'm watching his first splits. He's looking down to see there was so much mud and things on that front tire, and you can tell he's not exactly happy with things, but this guy here, STK, he had some good pace yesterday, as did Jake Gagne, but look at Bobby Fong just disappearing into the distance. 24.7 though, for the 6th place rider right now, Cam Beaubier. He's the only guy that's even close to the pace of Bobby Fong. So we're going to have to figure out what happened there a little bit after the race.
So what we've learned is that Benjamin Smith has come into the pits on his Yamaha. That's going to relegate Josh Herrin into 15th place, which gives him a single championship point. But he is 18.2 seconds behind Danilo Lewis. And as the last run, a 30-second 130.9 to Danilo Lewis's 127.9. So we'll keep an eye on Herrin. You can keep an eye on him in the left part of your screen on our scoring pylon.
Love seeing this. Richie Escalante on the 54. The other rider, along with SDK, 2 teammates, such likable guys that are under that canopy. And this is a credit to that Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki team. The work that these guys put in to get these 2 motorcycles as competitive as they are is a real testament to the knowledge and things they have. As you look, Cam Beaubier now makes the pass on Hayden Gillum, who is all out of shape. He's going to run wide, though, Greg. Gillum's going to turn it back up underneath him, get that position back. So for Cam Beaubier, he's trying to make his way forward. He still has podium pace, and he's got the podium just up in front of him. For Gillum, he's just trying to close this gap down on that American HRC Honda bike of his, Greg.
Yeah, Hayden Gillum still developing that super bike. And for Hayden Gillum in the 25.5 range. And Beaubier right there as well. And it looks like Josh Herrin's coming into the pits. So championship implications here for Herrin. Yeah, who had a 27-point lead in this championship, and now he's looking. So he's pointing to his crew, and he's telling them what's wrong.
The thing that can happen sometimes is you can get mud and dirt inside your throttle housings, and it can make the throttle, when you're trying to roll the throttle off, it can make it to where you can't close the throttle off all the way. So this is going to be a problem. Now, the team, all they've got to do, everybody's got to relax here, because they're going to just get him fitted, get him back out. He's still going to get a point. That point could still be crucial for him. And you saw Herron how frustrated he was getting up the bike, as you would be. And he knows he doesn't do this kind of thing. He doesn't make these kind of mistakes very often, Greg. So right now, crew will get him back out there. Herron will end up getting back on this bike and just trying to finish out these laps.
Jamie.
A lot of frustration down here for Josh Herron as he's thinking big picture, he's thinking championship, and right now he's losing out on all of these laps. The crew thrashing over the wall to try and get some of the bodywork back into shape. The handlebar is bent too far down for Josh to be able to ride it, so they're going to get him out there. They're going to see if they can collect any of the points, but the frustration for Josh Herron is just so evident right now in pit lane.
But this is a team sport, and Josh knows that his Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team has his back, and they're well prepared, Jay. As we see, they have an entire handlebar assembly with the throttle body, everything on it ready to go. So this is going to be as quick of a change as possible, and they're going to get Herron back out on the race course, and we're going to see what he's able to do. We know that he's 2 laps down now, but Jay, you bring it up. There's only 14 riders on track, so if Herron goes back out, he has a chance of getting himself a championship point.
Yeah, and if anything else happens to any other riders, but this is exactly what Jamie was talking about. That bar was kind of bent down on top of that fairing, so he was probably getting his fingers caught in there, Greg, as he's trying to roll the throttle on, roll the throttle off. Left-hand side of your screen, you can see Beaubier is now closed up on that group just in front. That battle for second is on its front straightaway. Bobby Fong is out front on his own, doing minute 24s. We've essentially got a 5-rider battle as Hayden Gillam's doing everything he can to dig in and get himself into this battle for the podium spot as well. So we've got a Suzuki, a Yamaha, a BMW, and a Honda. 2 Suzukis for that matter, Greg. 4 different brands battling it out here to try to get on this podium.
On a weekend where Suzuki has announced a 2026 GSXR 1000. Will it be homologated for race competition next year? We certainly expect it. A recently newly designed motor that this Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki team is looking forward to squeezing horsepower out of, and some other new bits and pieces on this motorcycle. So a shock to a lot of people that Suzuki's still wanting to create and update their GSXR 1000, including winglets, as you see the motorcycles that are in and around those Suzukis, the only ones without those winglets. Jamie, what do you got going down in the pits?
Well, Josh Herron now thinking even bigger pictures. The fact that he can get 1 championship point, but that is if he is able to finish 2/3 of this race, and for him, or 3/4 of this race, I'm sorry, that means for him, he has to be able to complete 15 laps to be able to collect that 1 point. So he's asked the pit officials, can you let me know when Bobby is getting close to that point, when do I need to get out there, so that he himself can be mentally prepared for that challenge.
Well, Jamie, by our lap count, that would be about now. He's completed 3, they got 12 laps to go. So it's going to be sometime within this next lap or so that he will jump out of that window. So we will have to keep an eye on what's happening here as Cam Beaubier slides himself up underneath Richie Escalante, Greg, to move himself into that 4th place position. So Beaubier continues his march forward. Look at just back here, Hayden Gillam on that Honda. He has been running consistently in the 25.8 that time for him and Beaubier. The guys in front are running in the low 26s. So Gillam does have that pace as well, but he's just fallen off the back of him and through the first 3 or 4 corners. As we see from our commentary position, Herron is back out on track.
So Josh Herron, what a run by his crew to get that bike up to snuff just in time with laps. You know, if he's able to do those 15 laps, he's going to get that championship point. And we've said it many times, 1 point can make a huge difference. And if things like this continue to happen,
Joe Giannotto
looks like he's out. So Herron could possibly get up to 14th. That would be 2 points for him. But also the urgency of the number 6 of Cameron Beaubier, who we're looking at right now. So you have Sean Dilly Kelly, who's leading this way on the number 40. He is in 2nd place. Then Gagne's in 3rd, and Beaubier on the Tytler Cycles BMW is sitting there in 4th place. So there is a ton of championship points sitting right out in front of him, because the way we pay points here is 25 for first, 20 for second, and then 4 back is 16 for third, 13 3 back, and 5th place is 11 points, 2 points away from 4th. It's once we get to 6th place where they start to drop 1, so 11 to 10 points, 9, and back down to 15th place. So once you get up into these top 5 points paying positions, it makes a difference, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point difference. And so what Beaubier is looking at right now is just up the road is Sean Dillon Kelly. That's taking maximum advantage of what's happening with Josh Herron.
Wow, a lot of stuff has gone on, Greg, and it's, we got Mid-Ohio in 2.5 weeks or a week and a half, whatever it is. The battle's going to commence there, but we're going to have a much closer championship battle when we get to Lexington. So right now, again, we've got these 4 riders, and the number 40, what he's been wanting to do all year, right?
Put on the podium.
Get that bike on the podium for his team. And right now he's got his teammate kind of at the bookend with Gagne and Beaubier smashed in the middle. So one of these 4 riders is going to be unhappy, or 2 of these 4 riders are going to be unhappy that they don't kind of get up on that box. Meanwhile, the guy out in front is 6.2 seconds out, Bobby Fong.
And still the fastest rider on the racetrack.
Still the fastest rider on the track.
So Gagne, the number 32, in 3rd place right now, Jamie.
And for Jake Gagne, he said, look, the Yamaha, obviously, it's got so much performance. He said, me as a rider, I'm just not able to take full advantage of it the same way that Bobby Fong, his teammate, has been able to do over the last couple of races. He said, I have everything I need underneath me, but he took it on the chin and said, I've got to be able to ride it better. And that's where his focus was coming into the race today. Yes, there's been some luck handed his way in terms of being in contention for a podium, but for him, this could give him some momentum to go forward and have something with for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rider just a couple years ago set a race-winning record in one season. 17 race wins in a season just a few years ago for the number 32 on his way to one of his championships, Jay. And so, we know that he's been plagued with injuries,
yes,
with forearm injuries, and although the pain is fixed, we know that he is not 100% with the strength, but he still continues to work into it.
And really, that's what it is. And when you look at the components of what VIR is, it's a very flowy racetrack with some hard braking areas. So for Gagne, you kind of wonder about that grip strength just a little bit. And Greg, when you start to get to the point where you can't squeeze the lever, and it's not an arm pump thing, it's not a pain thing, like you say, to your point, it's going to be more of a strength thing. So Gagne, he's always so thoughtful about the guys he rides around, the racers he's in. He never wants to compromise any of that, but he also can see what his teammate is doing up front and knows that Attack Performance is giving them bikes that they can win races on. So this is that braking area. Is he taking a shot right now? Nah, he looked like he was thinking about it though, didn't it?
It certainly did. But he also knows what Sean Dillon Kelly was doing yesterday, how hard he was racing. And so he's going to be mindful of that. But the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki rider Sean Dillon Kelly having a good run in 2nd place right now. All his eyes are forward on that podium position. Meanwhile, his teammate Richie Escalante on the back of these Yamaha and this BMW. So look at Richie Escalante. Now the times have gone down from high 25s to low 26s. All these riders, 26.3s across the board, with Escalante going just a tick quicker. So you see the 54 in Escalante doing a great job.
Yeah, but how about Bobby Fong's doing 24.9?
Yeah.
I mean, Greg, you've been doing this a lot of years, so I always like to ask you these kind of questions, but when is it that you've seen 9 laps to go in a race and a guy's going over a second quicker than the rest of the field in a superbike race?
It's been a long time. Bobby Fong has really put his stamp on this championship as well as these last 2 weekends. I mean, he has the potential with 9 laps to go, this guy, number 50, to win 4 in a row. It would be so impressive. Jamie, what do you got going on?
We're talking about Sean Dillon Kelly, the way he raced yesterday, very aggressive. And he said, listen, I've been aggressive all season long. There are some challenges, growing pains with him coming back over to race in Moto America, being on this new Suzuki Superbike to him. And he said, my job as a rider is to maximize the bike. That's all that he was doing yesterday. He's getting better as the season goes on at maximizing those results. But aggression, that's the name of the game. And he said, if you don't like it, then you shouldn't be out here racing.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, rubbing is a bit of racing, and that is true. And the thing is that I think that when you look at where STK, he's hungry. He just wants it so bad. And you know, to kind of put an exclamation point on what he's saying there is that, as you can see, Escalante has gotten through, and he took a shot at Beaubier in turn 10 earlier. The only thing better for Division Will M4 X-Star Suzuki team to get a guy on the podium is to get them both up there. So Escalante, very, very racy, but all these riders, they don't go out there with the intentions of running into each other or planning it, but they're so close, Greg, the competition here at Moto America, that sometimes they're fighting for the same track. And at some of the tracks we go to, it's going to be kind of aggressive passing in order to get through. And STK was taking every shot he could yesterday. And right back to Josh Herron's credit, he wasn't going to have it either. And he fought all the way. He ended up getting that last podium spot. But this thing isn't over. And when you look at this guy coming on the front straightaway, Greg, it's going to be over 10 seconds as he comes through this next lap. He's the only guy in the 25s. He's still doing mid-25s in his sleep. And the next group of guys, look how far back they are. This is just incredible.
Yeah, he has checked out completely. And the battle continues to rage on the front straightaway down to turn number 1, where Sean Dylan Kelly has been extremely strong, and Beaubier slips back. So still circulating in the low 26, 126.2s across the board, except Escalante. He was dipping into the 125s, only 0.2 slower than our race leader. So Escalante in that mix with the draft, a 125.883. And the fastest top speed on the racetrack, too, by the Suzuki rider Escalante at 174.4 miles per hour last time through our speed trap.
Guess who else is doing 25.6s?
Who?
Josh Herron.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a bunch of laps down. Escalante's got to run on Gagne here. But, you know, you sit there and you think about it. Herron knows that he's not going to get any places gained in this race whatsoever. And he's still out there just putting up the good fight.
As we look at this battle for second, we'll give you a Josh Herron update. You can see that he's 14th. That's worth 2 points in the championship. But we also know that he's completed 10 laps. He needs to complete 15 total, and there's 7 laps to go. So he is in the window of being able to get that championship point, as Jamie told us about that 3/4 race distance that he has to complete in order to score a point.
Escalante was having a look there down the inside of Gagne as well as they went through turn 10, and Hayden Gillum is still trying to do something there with the guys in front. Here's a little bit of a Herron update on the right-hand side of your screen. He's going to slide up under Danilo Lewis. Unfortunately, Greg, I don't think that is going to be a position.
No, he's a couple laps down. He's at least
down,
3
right?
laps down or so, on that competition.
So when you start to, he's 3 laps down. Okay, I was just looking at something different there. But you can see here, Escalante, he's got some pace, and so does Gillum. Right now, Gillum of this group that just went through, he went 26.0. He was half a second quicker than the 4 riders in front of him. So for the 69, he just keeps getting ever closer to the back of Cam Beaubier. He's just got to keep trying to stick it in there and hit his marks. But I think Escalante is going to take a shot at Gagne here somewhere maybe into 7 or possibly even turn 10.
And for Cameron Beaubier, this could be disastrous, losing these points with the opportunity to gain so many on Josh Herron, especially going to the racetracks we have remaining as the 69 continues to close on the back.
He's there now.
He is 100% there. Is Hayden Gillum on that real steel Honda, supported by American Honda and HRC. That's a CBR 1000 RR-RSP. And it's really good to see Honda back racing in the United States. And of course, Hayden Gillum coming off a national championship he won in the stock 1000 class.
The thing from Hayden is when you're in this position where you're just trying to continuously grind out these laps to the point where you can try to get to the back of them, once you get there, you can almost take a little bit of a breath and then start to come up with a plan of what you want to do in the last 5 laps. I mean, this race is really starting to wind down. We haven't seen too much action from these 4 other than Escalante passed Beaubier a few laps ago. So now it's going to be a point of when you get there, what are you going to do with them? And I think Gagne, as you see Escalante really broad sliding that 54 GSX-R 1000 out of that turn 2 area. He's doing everything he can to wind himself up for a pass.
Here he goes up the inside. No, not going to get it done. Gagne just closed off so quickly. A good move by Escalante to roll out of it for a moment and not put himself or Gagne at risk.
But these are all the spots. He's got another run on Gagne right now. He has a really good shot at trying to do something here. The problem with this track is all these guys break so deep. They all break the same way. They all break the same places. You've got to get creative. So when you talk about SDK and some of the contact that was made yesterday, I get it. On one point, you've got to get creative. You've got to figure out a way to make a pass on somebody. Here's another shot for Escalante. A good run here. He might try it here, Greg, and he is up alongside.
Oh, there goes Escalante into third place around Gagne. And Gagne had left the door just cracked enough where Escalante was able to move his Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki into that spot. And now this team looking at double podiums, but Escalante doesn't seem like he's done yet, although tons of wheel spin coming onto the front straightaway for the 54.
That was a bummer for Richie, because I think he wants to take a shot at SDK almost immediately. As you can see, the two guys now up front, and you see Bobier, he takes a shot at Gagne. So now Bobier moves up behind these two Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki bikes. Bobier on his Tytler's BMW. He does a great job there. As you can see this pass, Greg, up into turn 10. Escalante, it's again a very narrow spot. He'd been kind of planning that pass for about the last 3 or 4 laps.
Down into turn number 2, Escalante looked like for a moment he might try to make a move on his teammate. He's got some pace, but we all know that SDK is very difficult to pass. He gets past, he fights back immediately. So for Richie Escalante, if he's got a notion with 3.5 laps to go, he's got to really sort out where he can do it and not give SDK an opportunity to fight back.
Yeah, and right now Richie's spot looks like it's that turn 10. He hasn't got to really follow, but look at the roll speed from Escalante. He's right up the back. Whoa. SDK, he's gonna, yeah, but look, to your point, Sean's really good under braking. This is gonna have to happen where the 54 can get a better drive coming onto the front straightaway, get in the draft of his teammate, make a nice clean move as they come through this kink, get to the inside, and go past the 40 if he's able to.
Onto the front straightaway, equal equipment driving. Escalante tries to get behind the bubble. Wheel spin from both of them, but too much for Escalante as they bend it through the kink. A little bit more RPM gives him a jolt of power down into turn number 1. Escalante gonna fall right behind his teammate. Nothing doing there, and a little sideways for Escalante.
And what's crazy is that Cam can't really do anything with either one of these two bikes. When you got guys that could be fanning out, you have to make a decision very early where you want to make the pass. And for the number 6, Cameron Bobier there, he just wasn't able to. Look at Escalante here, Greg. He looks like he wants to take. We saw him try that with Gagne, so he's just marking this up right now, and you know SDK can hear him right behind him. Gillum on the back of these 4 as well. His podium shot is just a couple of bike lengths in front of him as well.
Bobby Fong, 13.5 seconds out front. And for a moment at Escalante, he's got so much bike control though. Yeah, but he's having to brake so hard, he's going sideways all over.
SDK's getting defensive though now. Now he knows that somebody's there knocking on the door to try to break through. And this is where Escalante needs to roll up on SDK right at the right spot, get this drive, and see if he can do something. He's not close enough again, and that is just a testament to how quick SDK is getting into turn 10.
Now the question is, with Richie Escalante still coming back from injury, but Escalante, is he going to be able to stay patient enough and not push the issue and make a mistake? This would be heartbreaking for the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki team, who definitely wants this podium. If they can go 2-3, it'll be a huge day for this team. But Sean Kelly continues to lead. Now 2 laps to go in this race, and it looks like Bobier is going to try something. Not enough room up the inside.
Just not quite close enough. You know, the thing that Escalante cannot do is he cannot open that door to Cam Bobier with 2 laps to go. So right now, 2 laps to go, they're in the mid-26s. They're following each other and just trying to figure out where this is going to happen. This is another spot. Look at SDK. See how he went tighter in there that lap?
Oh, yeah.
That was strictly because he'd heard Escalante do something there the lap prior. Again, Escalante nosing around through the middle of these right-hand corners.
Yeah, but for Kelly, he's only got to race forward and think about the one rider behind him. For Escalante, he's got to worry about both what the rider in front of him's doing and his opportunity to attack, and then what Bobier's going to do behind him. So a much more complex race for the 54 at the moment, as now Gagne starts to lose a couple of bike lengths of the touch of this group. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And now a pass not going to happen.
Just can't do it, and it's literally a knife's edge, Greg. You cannot explain. There are times when you're the 54 and you've made the plan. I'm doing it this lap no matter what. I'm going to go through, as you see Bobby Fong take the white flag. That's how far out in front he is. Now Beaubier is in a perfect spot to get a double draft off both of these motorcycles in front of him. This is going to be their last run as they come to the white flag. Look at Escalante. He's moving himself out to the left to get back to the right to go up underneath SDK down into turn 1.
The braking battle down into turn number 1. Sean Dylan Kelly closes off the line. Can he hold it nice and tidy? He does. And oh, by the way, Herron has completed 15 laps. So if he's able to finish this race in 14th, he'll get 2 championship points. That's going to be pivotal the rest of the year. But on the left part of your screen,
he's gonna have to
your
go.
leader. Here comes the pass. Nope.
SDK chops that off.
Oh,
look at Beaubier trying to go around the outside. He's not going to have room there. So now the biggest thing you risk here, Greg, if you're SDK, is you don't want to open the door because you know that there's a group of riders back there. And here it comes Escalante again. SDK's tight going in there. There's nothing he could do. And you can see as Escalante moved back over to the left, Cameron had a notion to go down the inside. Bobby Fong on the left-hand side of your screen's got 3 more corners to go. These guys are all battling out. See the little gap now between SDK and Escalante? Escalante created that with the hopes that he could get a run here on Sean Dylan Kelly, and that's exactly what he did.
Here's the attack from his teammate, and Richie Escalante is able to hold on to it and get second place. Down the hill they go, but on the front straightaway, your attack performance, Progressive Yamaha of Bobby Fong, 4 on the trot. What a run from him. He takes victory, and now the final 2 spots on the podium. Escalante sitting in second spot. Here they come, and Cameron Beaubier wheel in the air. Here comes a good run by Sean Dylan Kelly, and he's going to pass, and Beaubier has to roll out of it. He's way too wide through the kink, not able to hold on the gas, and it's going to be a 2-3 finish for the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki crew. Cameron Beaubier only able to score 13 points in his championship, and tip of the cap to this guy and his crew. What can you say about the Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team? They race as a team, they win as a team, and they work hard as a team. And for Josh Herron, the checkered flag awaits, and 2 championship points after his team was able to rush and get that motorcycle fixed, get him back out of the race course, and officially Josh Herron will have completed 17 laps of the 20 in this race. Congratulations to that team for that, but we're all about this run.
I can see Escalante create that little bit of gap. That's what you're doing when you're running up the back of a guy so many laps through that right. That time he created that gap, Greg. He was able to get the run that he needed, make a very committed pass, in a very gnarly place to do it. Escalante gets second, and Beaubier, to your credit, Greg, you saw it. He had to roll off because of how fast that kink is. You don't want to get out too far left. This guy has no idea the excitement that happened behind him, and he's just fine with it.
Yeah, for Beaubier, the potential to Petrucci that thing from 2022.
Yes.
You don't want to do that at all.
Yes.
So I just feel like with the wide line that Beaubier took and how quick and how tight that kink turns, there's not much he could do to get another position. But it's all about this guy. 14.3 second margin of victory, 24.5 his fastest lap of the race. Bobby Fong had some action up front and then cruised to the finish. We'll see how it went for him after this.
4 in a row for Bobby Fong, but Rog, let's talk about the other 2 riders on the podium, Sean Dylan Kelly and Richie Escalante on their Suzukis. That was a great battle at the end of the race.
Yeah, that is great for the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki team. They've been working so hard and had some bad luck come their way and been close to the podium, and now they're going to get both of their riders on the podium. And it's just John and Chris put so much into that program, their whole crew. They worked so hard, and it's great to see them get that reward.
Yeah, that double podium, and great to see Escalante back on form as well in this one. The number 54 got himself up into second spot and then just beaten in that run through the last corner by his teammate SDK, but really good to see Escalante up there again.
Really good ride by Richie, and something's clicked from last night. I don't know if it was a setup change